This is part 1 of the tutorial for the high tea crochet quilt. In this part I'm going to show you how to sew the fabric squares for the quilt. For each square you'll need 2 6-inch squares of fabric and 1 6-inch square of batting. I'm going to start by putting the 2 squares of fabric right sides together. I used the same fabric for the front and back of the quilt, but you could use different fabrics if you wanted to. I'm going to put this fabric on top of my square of batting. These stay together pretty well, so there's no need to pin anything together. I'm going to sew around the square, most of the way around the square, using a 1/2 inch seam. I say most of the way because I do need to be able to turn the square inside out, or right side out. So I'll start sewing it down here, and a 1/2 inch from the edge of the fabric. Back stitch. And then I'm going to go most of the way around. And I'm going to stop a couple inches from where I started, and I'll backstitch. Okay, before I turn this right side out, I want to clip the corners. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut toward the corner. Careful not to get too close to the stitching here. I don't want a hole in my corner. I just want it to not have a big bunch of fabric in it when I turn it right side out. I'll do this all the way around. Now I'm ready to turn right side out. So I find my gap here, and I will gently pull this fabric through. Now to get nice and pointy corners, I'm going to use this tool. I think it's just called a point turner. If you don't have one of these, you could use something like a chopstick or a knitting needle. Whatever you use, you just want to be really careful that you don't poke right through the fabric. Just kind of gently work it out so that you have a nice sharp corner here. One more. There we go. Push those strings down inside. Now I'm going to give this a press. I'm going to go back to my machine for the top stitching. This time I actually am going to go all the way around, and I'm going to go 1/4 inch from the side so that I can close up that hole that I made. Stitch here. And now I just have to clip my corners, and I will have a finished square for the high tea crochet quilt. There we go. In the next part of the tutorial, I'll show you how to sew the back stitch around each of these squares.